Welcome to Free Your Mind Reviews. This is Chris Johnson with a review of Gemini Man. Gemini Man tells the story of an aging assassin played by Will Smith who is thrown for a loop when he starts being hunted by another assassin who ends up being the younger clone of himself. So, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of hype about the high frame rate and the digital de-aging that ended up actually being motion capture work that they did on Will Smith's clone character. But this movie is a perfect example of why all that great technology in the world means absolutely nothing without the core ingredients of a good movie. Script, 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 directing. And that one is the big shock to me. Because Gemini Man, dud is not the word for it. It's more than a dud. It's like when you're watching the Looney Tunes and the anvil hits the person splat in the head all the way from the top of the canyon. That's what Gemini Man is. It is probably one of, in my opinion, the worst examples of a film by a director that we know to be fantastic that I've seen. Like, it reminded me of when Clint Eastwood did the 1517 to Paris. And I'm watching that film, I'm sitting down, and I'm like, none of the creative decisions are working here. None of them whatsoever are working. That was, of course, stretching out a real life plot that could have been done in 20 minutes and stretching it to an hour and a half and casting the real life guys who are awesome, but they're not actors, so they come off really off, and this is what the biggest problem to me was the stretching of the narrative for that movie. This one has its own freaking crazy problems. So everybody wants to know how the high frame rate is, right? Personally, I can't stand it. I can't. I wasn't feeling it on Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. And then the weird way Aang shot that film like he was Jonathan Demme all of a sudden with all these point of view shots. So you have real life people staring at me in this soap opera looking shit. And then, so with this one, okay, great. Cut down the POVs. They show up every once in a while though. But the first shots start and I'm like, yeah, I don't like this. I still don't like this. I didn't like it when we were testing The Hobbit when I used to work at the movie theater. And that was 48. This is 120. So it's like people will say, "Oh, your eyes aren't used to it. Your eyes aren't used to it." It's not just about my eyes not being used to it. It's that it looks butt ass ugly. The cinematic quality that I love about film, that I'm loving that TV is even doing, is gone in this high frame rate garbage. It's gone beyond looking like a soap opera because I think the Channel 2 soap operas look better than this. The Day the Young and the Restless is more cinematically, visually appealing to me than a dang Ang Lee movie is a day that I did not think would ever come. But the look at this dang thing is so bland and so obnoxiously annoying to my eyeballs. Why should I go see a movie that looks like a YouTube video of someone testing out their footage and they don't know what they're doing? That's not these filmmakers. What is this? What is the appeal of this, really? Because everyone keeps talking about evolution, evolving from theaters to streaming, evolving from 24 frames to 120 frames. And the only thing I see evolving is the number on that one. Don't tell me this movie looks as good as how 1917 looks. Don't tell me this movie's more visually appealing than Ad Astra. Because it's not. And it has a really talented DP. But then you mix up not only the 120 frames garbage with the really bland lighting, for goodness sake. And what was funny to me was that the 120 frames bit looked best at nighttime in darker scenes, yet most of the film is shown during the daytime. Most of the scenes are exterior day scenes where everything looks fake, crap, cardboardy shit. That was 4K? That was a sorry excuse for 4K. Because the resolution came off as garbage. The only thing that high frame rate helped out was one slow-mo 3D sequence. I barely noticed the 3D, except for one bit that looked really nice. But then at the same time, the rest of the shot looked like ass. And then it had that really stupid motion blur feeling to it that you'll get on dumb TVs that, Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie begged us to turn off. So even during the action scenes, especially when the camera would whip pan, it'd be like, oh, Lord have mercy, why? Ugh, it's an assault on my eyes. It hurts. Stop it. And then I hear Avatar 2 is going to be done on 120 frames bit too, and I'm like, oh, God. And then I would say, oh, maybe James Cameron will make it work. He's the technical master, he always has been. But then let's be honest. Ang Lee did Crouching Tiger. Ang Lee did Life of Pi. Ang Lee has done technical marvels before. I just hate this this high frame rate shit. Didn't like it with his last film. Didn't like it with The Hobbit. Didn't like it with Aquarella. It looked ugly. Especially when there was a human being in the frame. And of course, Gemini Man, there's human beings in every frame. So it is not working. It's not working. I don't like it. Now on to Will Smith's CG character. For the most part, he's fine. For the most part. There's some pretty good stuff for him in terms of the quality of the special effects. Except for one scene. Holy shit. It was like they wrapped a rubber mask onto Will Smith and then wet the sucker. It was so bad. And another example of why would you go with the brightest, blandest looking daylight for this scene? Why would you do that? You're all better than this. And speaking of better than this, that's all of that stuff may not have worked, but it's fluff. Because you don't have to see the movie in 120 frames. You don't. You can go to IMAX, go see it in regular 2D. See it as in a regular movie showing. You won't notice what I just noticed with that stuff. But man, you know what you can't avoid? The terrible, terrible script. The awful dialogue. The paper-thin, meandering plot. Oh my God. A friend asked me, he's told me, yeah, the plot is so basic. And I'm like, it's so basic that you wonder what the hell the point of all that was. Why is he being hunted? I know why he's being hunted, but the reason is so who cares that you just don't care. It's a damn afterthought. I mean, there are some awful dialogue scenes in this movie. You made a person out of another person. And did you send that person? And I'm like, it didn't really hit me in the trailer how bad that line was. I don't know. Sometimes I can be a little slow to negativity. I know this week is not looking like that with this and Lucy in the Sky. But yeah, honestly, I try to always give it the benefit of the doubt. But my God. That script was awful. Absolutely awful. And then the acting Ang Lee's one of Ang Lee's strongest suits, if not his most strongest skill, is his ability to direct actors. Look what he did with Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal and Michelle Williams in Brokeback Mountain. Look how good the acting is in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Everyone talks about the fight scenes and the beautiful wire work in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but the acting, the dramatic storytelling is so well done in that film. Where the hell did that guy go? Did he take a nap? Because, for the exception of Will Smith, really, everybody in this movie's bad. Maybe Mary Elizabeth Winstead's alright. But my goodness gracious. Some of the bit players that talk to Will, who's the side characters who know him and have histories with his character, the line reads are awful. I'm sitting there going what in the hell is this? Is this the beginning of rehearsals? They just getting the feeling out process? Alright, where's the real scenes? Where the real takes? They never come. They awful. They're terrible. I couldn't believe it. And even, and even Will's my boy. Has been, always will be. When the movie was starting, at first I felt like he was miscast. At first. Because there was supposed to be this feeling of pain and sorrow for all the lives that Henry character has taken his entire life, being an assassin and all that stuff. And it's supposed to feel like that, but it doesn't feel like that. Because he's saying these words, but all I'm seeing is Big Willie style. I'm not seeing concussion I Am Legend Will Smith. I'm looking at Independence Day Will Smith saying these lines that don't fit. I'm thinking in my head, well, maybe, I wonder what Denzel would have done for this part or something like that. But then, halfway through, I'm thinking, wait a second. Like I said, he has shown the pain of a situation, the pain of losing everything, the pain of the violence in his life as a character before. He did that in I Am Legend. He was an entire film. He even did it in Hancock. I know Hancock's not liked by a lot of people, but I actually liked Hancock. The drunken, self-loathing side, and then when he was in the restaurant and talking about how he doesn't know who he was and nobody was there for him when he woke up from his amnesia, and he's like, what kind of bastard must I have been that nobody was there to claim me? And he nailed that. So it's not like he couldn't have nailed this self-loathing pain and sorrow of being this hitman who doesn't want to do it anymore, and then all of a sudden he's being hunted by his younger self. It's not like they couldn't do that. It's not like it was impossible. It's just nobody cared. Because all they focused on was this stupid high frame rate and the freaking CG. And then people saying, the action scenes are, at least they're good. And it's like, they'll start good. But then they'll start getting annoying and tedious. Whether it's the high frame rate causing the punches to look weird, or the motion blur from the camera because of the high frame rate, or the weird way that Aang specifically shoots certain fights, where it's like they're not overly edited, but it was like they were more concerned with showing, hey, look at these two Will Smith's faces. Like, it gets weird. And then some of the action bits are hilarious. Like, there's a motorcycle scene that actually starts really great, and then for the last minute of it, it gets really stupid. I mean, bitch slapping with bikes. Like, did you guys just turn into Marvel? It was like you guys... It was like the scene started out like it wanted to be the Bourne Ultimatum, and then it progresses, and it becomes the worst type of Marvel action scene. And it's funny, considering Captain America the Winter Soldier actually made those two type of action scenes merge into one successfully. But Gemini Man tries to do it, and boy, it's dumb. Filmmakers this great shouldn't be making movies this bad. And I don't understand how a filmmaker as amazing as Ang Lee can direct a script this terrible, can have performances this goofy. I'm being completely serious. There's a scene in this movie that turns this film into a sitcom. And I was sitting there dumbfounded and I couldn't believe it. Like, did Gemini Man go off and I started watching an episode of Blackish or something? Guest starring Will Smith. They doing that. I heard that little Fresh Prince spinoff rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. Maybe they were practicing during that scene in Gemini Man. But nah, that's disrespectful to Fresh Prince. You want good Will Smith, man? Go just watch his older stuff. You want to know what Ang Lee is about as a filmmaker, truly about? Don't go see this movie. Because for me, it was probably the worst movie of his career. I don't know. I just couldn't believe what I saw. But I don't usually lead in expectations. I lead with anticipation. But you know what? When it comes to a filmmaker like him and all the filmmakers in this that are involved in this film, you know what? I can't help it. I expect better. And as filmmakers, you guys deserve to do better. So do better.